So in this recording, I want to talk about misconceptions when it comes to meditation. And I think a lot of people have questions about how to meditate more effectively, how to get started when it comes to meditation, what kind of processes that they need to do in order to be effective at meditating and get all the benefits that they see other people may be getting online. And recently I've been getting a ton of questions about how to get started if you are a beginner meditator. And for a lot of people who get started in meditation, they feel like it's not working for them. For some reason, they can't connect with their meditations and they can't stay consistent with their meditation practice because either they feel like it's a waste of time and it's not working for them, or their mind just goes in a million different directions and they just can't get quiet mentally, they can't get present, and they feel like it's just not for them. Now, I have answered a lot of these questions in many different videos and many different podcast episodes. So before actually getting into this recording, I'm going to list off a few of my previous podcast recordings that you can find on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube that I think will help. So if you're a beginner meditator, if you're just getting started meditating and you feel like you are having a little bit of difficulty before listening to this recording, here are a list of some recordings I think will help if you listen to them first. So the very first recording I recommend listening to is Meditation 101, which I think is a great introduction to meditation. The quiet space that exists beyond the mental chatter is another one. Practical ways to incorporate presence in daily life. The biggest lesson I've learned from consistent meditation this year is another episode that I highly recommend getting into before listening to this one. Pockets of presence, how to stay centered when overwhelmed. And the last one I'd recommend is uncaused joy. So those are 6 recordings that I think may answer some of your questions. So if you want to listen to them before listening to this, you can. Obviously, if you don't, you're still going to get value from listening to this one. We're just going to go over some common misconceptions when it comes to meditation, things that I see people frequently ask me when it comes to meditating, how to meditate more consistently, how to feel more connected to your meditation. And before getting into this, I just would like to preface, I am by no means an expert when it comes to this at all. I am just someone who about a year ago, just over a year ago, started to really take my meditation seriously and commit to doing it every single day. This isn't to say that some days I don't do it. I get too busy or too caught up doing whatever and I can't do it. That happens very rarely, but we're all human and sometimes we're going to make mistakes. Sometimes we're just not going to be able to get around to doing it. That happens and that's okay, and you shouldn't get down on yourself if you miss out on a meditation and you told yourself that you wanted to start being more consistent with it. It happens, you just move on, and that's it. So with that said, for about just over a year, every single morning, meditating, I try doing it 5 to 10 minutes every single day, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in one of the misconceptions that I'm going to talk about in this recording is a lot of people think that in order for your meditation to be effective, it needs to be 30 minutes, an hour long. I just don't feel like personally that needs to be the case, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. So every single morning I'll meditate for 5 to 10 minutes. Some days I'll meditate for 30 minutes. Some days I'll meditate for an hour. It really depends on how centered and connected I feel. That hour may be in one specific meditation block that I do. That hour may be spread up in different blocks that I have throughout the day, maybe one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at nighttime. So for just over a year, I've been meditating every single day, and it's absolutely impacted every single avenue of my life in a positive way. I'm not an expert when it comes to this. I don't claim to be an expert when it comes to this. I am just someone who's done it pretty consistently for this last little bit, and it's impacted my life positively. In addition to that meditation block or meditation session or whatever you want to call it that I do normally in the morning, I also try my best to incorporate different pockets of presence throughout the day. Now you may be wondering, what is a pocket of presence? For me, a pocket of presence is just a little moment, whether it be a couple seconds or a minute, just throughout the course of your day, where you take a deep breath and you consciously try to be more in the now. You try your best to be more in the present moment. Everyone's different. For me, this is just taking a deep breath, maybe closing my eyes, taking a deep breath, and just really immersing myself in whatever it is I'm currently doing. If I'm working, I take a deep breath and really just try to be here and now. Maybe I'll look around my environment and start noticing things that I've never noticed before. Start really listening to the things that are going on around me. That's a pocket of presence. So in addition to meditating, which is, me sitting down and committing to spending 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long it is, to just meditate and really connect more with the moment, I'll also incorporate these pockets of presence into my day-to-day life, where it's just like a couple seconds of just being really fully immersed in the now. It doesn't take as much commitment as a full-length meditation session that you do. It's just you immersing yourself in the now really quickly. And if you can incorporate, 15, 20 pockets of presence throughout the day, you're going to notice that you're more present in your day-to-day life. It's just another thing that helps you be more present. And another little tool that you can always pull out whenever you get overwhelmed or you feel like you're just getting too attached to everything that's going on around you. Maybe you're stuck in thought, you get a little bit anxious, whatever it is. Having a pocket of presence where you just, like I said, take a deep breath, whatever it is for you, you have to figure out what works for you. Just get into the moment really quickly. I think it'll help. So that's kind of what I wanted to mention before actually getting into these misconceptions. If you want to go listen to those recordings, the ones that I mentioned earlier on, I think it'll give you a really good introduction to meditation, how I meditate, the benefits, etc. It may be beneficial for you to listen to that before listening to this. If you don't want to, you can, of course, listen to this, and I'm sure you're going to get value either way. Hopefully, that's the goal. So I'm not an expert. I'm just talking about what's helped me and what I've noticed from people asking me questions through the content. I'm just going to put it all on here, and like I said, hopefully you get some value from this. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I feel like a lot of people assume when it comes to meditation is that it's about clearing your mind completely and trying not to think. People assume that the goal of meditation is making sure that throughout the course of your entire meditation, you aren't thinking. And that, in my opinion, is just definitely not the case. So many people believe that meditation is just simply about emptying the mind and not thinking at all. And if you do think, then you are unsuccessful. You are failing. This is completely unrealistic and can cause you to feel frustrated and upset and feel like this isn't meant for you because you have this expectation that your mind has to be completely empty. And for a beginner, that's just not the case. If you go into your meditation as a beginner thinking that the goal is to clear your mind completely and you are unable to do that, that may deter you from being consistent with it, because that won't happen the first few times you meditate. It won't happen the first 50 times you meditate. At least in my eyes, the goal with meditation isn't to completely stop your thinking whatsoever. It's just to simply observe the thoughts that do come up without attaching yourself to them, without judging them, without resisting them. It's more about becoming aware of the thoughts that do come by, learning to detach from them rather than trying to shoo them away, force them away, and trying to empty your mind completely. There's this phrase, it's like being able to watch the thoughts that come by are like clouds in the sky. They'll come, they'll go. Some days you will meditate whether you are a beginner or not, and you'll have a million thoughts, and it'll be so hard for you to just be centered and still. You'll be restless. You'll stop your meditation, you'll feel like that was pointless. I just wasted my time. But it's not a waste of time because you're getting better, you're practicing. Some days you'll meditate and your mind will be still instantly. You may still have thoughts that come up, but you're just able to observe those thoughts, take another deep breath, And then your mind may be empty and may be still, and you'll be done with that meditation after 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour long, however long you want to meditate. And you'll be like, wow, I was so connected. I felt so still there. I feel so present and so aligned. And that's great, but it's not always going to be like that. There's ups, there's downs, there's highs, there's lows. It's just the process of you staying consistent that will enable you to not have as many expectations, and you'll be able to get more out of it when you realize that it's not about emptying your mind. It's just being able to observe the thoughts that come up without any attachment. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions. And I can wholeheartedly tell you that I was under the impression when I first got into meditation, however many years ago, before I was consistent with it at all, that it was about clearing your mind completely. And I just don't think that needs to be the case now. I just wholeheartedly believe that that is just not true. So another big misconception is thinking that meditation needs to be for a long period of time. And if you don't meditate for a certain amount of time, you aren't going to get the benefits from it. Some people believe that in order for you to experience all the benefits that you hear about when it comes to meditation, you have to meditate for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour long. And I, again, just don't think that that needs to be the case at all. Again, this is coming from someone who's meditated consistently for just over a year. I've been meditating for probably 2-3 years, maybe like 2.5 years, but not consistently. When I started meditating consistently, it was only for like 5 or 10 minutes a day. And being completely honest, I still feel all of the benefits. I'm more focused. I articulate myself better, I feel like. I respond to situations rather than react to situations. I'm less stressed. I'm more centered and purpose-driven. I feel more whole. And I experience all these benefits from just a few minutes every single day. Short, small, consistent meditation blocks or sessions that you do are way more effective, in my opinion, than doing long, sporadic ones where all you're thinking about within that meditation is being done with your meditation. If you're a beginner, you're just starting out, don't think you need to sit down for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. A lot of people feel like they don't have enough time to sit down and meditate for 30 minutes or 45 minutes and meditate. And because they think they aren't going to get the benefits unless they do it for that long, they just avoid it altogether. And they don't meditate. If you're a beginner, and even if you aren't a beginner, if you want to meditate and meditate more consistently, sit for 5 minutes, sit for 10 minutes, and you're going to get the benefits. It's just about being consistent with it. Just think about it this way. Practicing presence is all about just being more fully engaged in the now. In whatever moment you find yourself in, practicing presence is just being more fully engaged in that moment. When you're meditating, you're just giving yourself a dedicated time, an allocated time to sit down to practice presence, to be more fully engaged in the present moment, to be more fully engaged in the now. Whether that be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter. The fact that you are setting aside time to be more present is incredible. Another misconception is thinking that meditation is only for a specific group of people. Like if you're really connected spiritually, or if you're into like self-development or whatever, like meditation is for anybody. Doesn't matter what you believe in or if you're connected spiritually or not. It's a practice that's going to help with mental clarity, with focus, with reduced stress, with increased self-awareness, feeling more purpose-driven, feeling more whole. It doesn't really matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter what your traditions are. A lot of people avoid meditation because they think that it's weird, it's woo-woo, it's all this nonsense. If you're someone who wants to be less stressed, if you're someone who wants to be more focused or feel more whole, meditate for 5 minutes consistently, and I can guarantee you it will change your life. That was a short one, but I think a really important one. Another misconception. People think that meditation should always feel very peaceful and very calm and very serene. That's just not the case. your meditations aren't always going to feel tranquil, especially if you are a beginner. Like I said before, sometimes you're going to meditate and instantly feel present, instantly feel centered and aligned. But some days you aren't, and that's okay. You aren't not doing it right just because you don't feel calm or peaceful all the time you do it. A lot of people assume that meditation will always lead to immediate feelings of peacefulness and calm or relaxation. Some days you're going to have a lot of thoughts and you're going to be restless. You're not going to be able to get still, and that is okay. You're still doing the process right. As long as you are attempting to be still mentally and you are more fully engaged in the now within your meditation, in my eyes, you are doing it right. It's very common for meditation to uncover within you thoughts that you maybe suppressed, or emotions that maybe you suppressed, discomfort. That's okay. The lack of relaxation or calm or peacefulness that you feel may make people feel like meditation isn't working for them, and they'll quit because of it. It's not always going to be peaceful. It's not always going to be calm. But it also isn't something that you should avoid, because if you're suppressing certain emotions or certain thoughts, those things coming up may help you once you start questioning, maybe after your meditation, why these things keep on reappearing. A really interesting thing that I've experienced from my own meditations is intuition. Like when I need guidance, or I feel like I should be doing something that I'm not doing, but I don't exactly know what that thing is, if I just get quiet and I meditate on it, I feel like the answer comes to me. It becomes obvious. And it's because I set aside time to just be quiet. And in that quietness, in that stillness, the answer tends to come to you. It's like God speaking to you. You're more quiet and you're able to hear that voice, that intuitive voice. A great analogy is like being at a loud event or a loud party, and you're trying to hear someone say something to you. When your mind is cluttered with thoughts about the past, about the future, you're anxious, you feel like you have to do this and do that, and you have to respond to this person and go here and go there. You can't hear your intuition. You can't hear what's important or what someone is trying to tell you. It's like if you're at that loud and noisy party, you can't hear what even the person beside you is trying to tell you. In order to hear that voice, you have to get quiet, you have to get still, and you're going to be able to tell what your intuition, what God is trying to communicate to you. Another misconception is people think that they need to be in a specific environment, like the perfect environment, in order for them to meditate and meditate effectively. Incorporating more pockets of presence, like I talked about earlier, throughout the course of your day, you can kind of view that as a mini meditation. You can be on a bus, you could be commuting, you could be at work, you could be in public, on a park bench, whatever. If you incorporate more pockets of presence, having that, second or couple seconds where you just take a deep breath, you connect and engage more in the now fully, that can be considered a mini meditation. You don't need the perfect environment or the perfect setup to be effective at meditating. Obviously, being in somewhat of a quiet space may help, but it's not required. Another misconception is people believe that meditation is only for stress relief. Not the case. If you're someone who isn't stressed at all by what they do in their day-to-day life, that's okay. You can still meditate and get a bunch of other benefits. Like we spoke about earlier, increased focus, being able to respond rather than react to situations, creativity, emotional intelligence, and a huge benefit that I've mentioned through my content before that I don't believe is widely talked about or spoken about, which is wholeness, fullness. When you meditate more consistently and you become more comfortable in your own skin, you become comfortable in stillness and quietness, you start to feel more whole and full within, and you start to realize that you don't need to achieve X, Y, or Z. You don't need to get to a specific destination to feel good with yourself. You start to feel good with yourself already. You start to become more confident in yourself, which enables you to go out and do whatever it is you're doing more effectively and more confidently, and from this detached state. It's not like I need to get here or do this or get into this relationship or do whatever in order to feel good with myself. So it's not just for stress relief. It's not just a stress reduction tool. It can help in many different areas of life. Another small misconception is thinking that you need to sit in a specific posture in order to meditate effectively and get the benefits from meditating consistently. Not the case. You can lie down. You can go for a walk as long as you're like not doing it dangerously and like, around traffic or whatever. Like if you can go for a walk in nature, look around your environment, be still mentally, I think that's a meditation. Having a pocket of presence as you're going for a walk in nature, that's a mini meditation. Like, do you. If you want to lie down, you can do that too. If you want to sit up with your back straight, obviously that's like a common practice, but I don't think it matters. I think you can meditate in any posture that's comfortable to you, sitting in a chair, lying down. Focus on your awareness, focus on your breath. You don't need to be in some uncomfortable lotus posture in order to meditate effectively. Again, this is just my opinion from my experience. You can do whatever feels comfortable to you. And the last misconception that I want to talk about in this recording is thinking that you need to follow a specific technical process or a guideline of rules to meditate effectively. And I just don't believe that that's the case. And I think this is very important to address and something that I get asked a lot about. Do I need to follow a specific set of rules in order to meditate effectively? In my eyes, in my opinion, the answer is no. I feel like a lot of people, and I was a victim of this also before I got into meditation, a lot of people like to come up with specific rules or reasons why they shouldn't do something that's going to benefit them, because growth takes time and it also requires us to step outside of our comfort zone. And sitting down and getting comfortable, becoming more comfortable in our own skin, sitting down, sitting in silence for 10 minutes may seem daunting to someone who's never done it before. There are no rules to meditation in my eyes. There is no process. Sit down, set a timer on your phone, and try to be still. That's it. All these misconceptions prevent people from committing to meditating consistently because they create unrealistic expectations about what it's supposed to be like. If you feel intuitively that meditation is going to help you, which I really think it will, sit down, set a timer, and do it. If you don't want to set a timer, don't do it. I think the timer is beneficial for someone who's a beginner. But I'm telling you, all you have to do is sit or stand, do whatever it is you feel is comfortable, and try your best to just be more fully here. Try your best to be more fully in the now. If you want to do it with your eyes closed, do it with your eyes closed. If you want to do it with your eyes open and you just want to sit somewhere and look and see what's around you, do that. Do what feels comfortable for you. But again, the main objective here, at least in my eyes, in my opinion, try your best to engage more fully in whatever moment you find yourself in. Whatever moment you find yourself in, try to be more here. Try to be more present and immerse yourself more in the present moment. That is it. With consistent effort, if you're a beginner, if you're not a beginner, you can experience all the benefits from meditating. You can start feeling more whole, feeling more complete as you are. You can experience all the positive benefits, that is. But it just takes commitment. It takes discipline. It's not something that you do once every month. That's better than not doing it at all. But if you can start doing it a couple times a week, then daily, then multiple times a day, if that's something that you can fit into your schedule, I think it can really make a positive difference, positive impact in your life. And again, I'm not an expert at this. By all means, I'm just someone who's incorporated these practices into my life and has seen it impact my life in positive ways. And I'm just sharing it because I'm passionate about it, and that's it. So if you have any other comments or questions at all, DM me on Instagram at Presence of Being, or anywhere, comment on this video if you're on YouTube. If you enjoy these recordings, leaving a positive review or a like would mean a lot to me. If you want to represent everything that we're building here at Presence of Being, you can get a hat at presenceofbeing.co. Thank you for being here. I hope this video has provided some benefit at all if you're a beginner, if you're not a beginner. Just these are some misconceptions that I see come up a lot in my content, people responding to certain things and commenting on certain things. So I just wanted to give my take on these misconceptions. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, you decide that you're going to spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes of meditation today. And if you do, that's incredible. I know it's going to impact your life positively. If you do, let me know. If you start meditating because of this video or because of this podcast, let me know. That would make my day. So I hope you're having a great day wherever you're listening to this. And I will see you in the next recording very soon.